everybody, I'm Russ Reyes from Kilt Cork. This is Watch This. And today we're out here at Lava Cap Winery. We're going to talk to Kevin Jones about this beautiful property. We're going to talk about what they're doing out here and also a little bit about Passport, so follow me in. Hey Kevin, how are you?
Hey, good to see you, Russ.
Good to see you too. So what's going on here?
So today we're going to start with a little calibrating wine, and then we're going to kind of show you all the different things that we're doing at Lava Cap. Go out through the vineyard and check out some exciting things. First, we're going to start with the calibrating wine, though, which is a 2017 state-grown Sauvignon Blanc, really crisp, 100% stainless steel fermented. I like to call this my calibrating wine and kind of use this as the first wine of the day because I know what it tastes like. I know what the mouthfeel feels like on my palate, so if my palate's off and this wine's tasting off, I'll know. And so it gives me a good start for the day.
Well, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
I love that, calibrating wine. That's a new term for me and a new use for wine.
Right.
Especially if you're going to start drinking wine in the morning, which is not a bad thing.
Right. No, it definitely, you find something like this that's really crisp, clean, has nice melon flavors, nice acidity, something that you know that consistently is going to taste pretty familiar.
That's delicious. This would be a great brunch wine.
Oh, an awesome wine for the morning with fruit. It goes really well. Strawberries, pineapple.
That's delicious.
Yeah, really rich, nice acidity though.
So we've had our calibrating wine. I like that term. I'm going to steal that from you, Kevin.
Hey, use it. I didn't invent it.
All right, let's go out and see what's going on in the winery.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. So, what part of the vineyard are we in right now? So right now we're walking kind of the main corridor of the vineyard. We walk between the Sauvignon Blanc and some Dijon corn Chardonnay over here. Sauvignon Blanc was actually planted in 1981, some of the first plantings here at Lava Cap, and it's in a really shallow Lava Cap soil. And that kind of the background with the Lava Cap is my grandfather was actually a geology and a geophysics teacher at Cal Berkeley. He spent his career studying plate tectonics, really anything that to do with the formation of the Earth. He's really into it, and so what the variable we have here is the lava cap. And the lava cap is actually not technically lava, it's a petrified lahar flow that developed between 4 to 10 million years ago. And the miners in the 1850s knew if they could find this material. At one point it was essentially like a liquid material, a lot like concrete, flowing down the mountainsides after an eruption, and it would cover up all the gravels in the streams, creeks, rivers, and kind of cement that gold-bearing gravel in place. So they knew if they could find this lava cap, that it was basically an indicator material for what was below it, which was the gravels, and they could mine it out. So they coined this the lava cap. But the cool thing about lava cap is it's great for growing grapes in. It's a kind of a porous medium, porous material that absorbs moisture, freezes, breaks down, rots very quickly compared to like granitic material. And so you get a young volcanic soil, which is between 4 to 10 million years old, well drained, loamy, rich with nutrients, very kind of a conglomerate of a lot of different material, and that's really what kind of makes our wines intense, makes them unique and rich.
So how many acres are planted here?
So we have 80 acres here on this property. In production, we probably have about 60. We have about 5 to 10 acres that are going to go into production here soon, that are planted, young vines, or about to be planted this spring. So when we're fully planted out here, probably in the next year, we'll have about 70 acres. This is beautiful. Yeah, it's really nice out here. And this is one of the interesting things about the Sierra foothills in general, but also in El Dorado more specifically, is this topographical kind of features here. You have a topography that really lends itself to growing a lot of different varieties. You can do Chardonnay. Right here we have Chardonnay, Merlot, and these two varieties, you know, you think in terms of kind of worldwide production, they're typically not planted next to each other. But we have a north-facing slope here that's got probably a 15-degree slope on it, and that allows us to get cool temperatures. It allows us to get really nice afternoon sun that's not too warm. It allows those grapes to really slowly ripen. So it really helps.
That view is just spectacular. So which
what are we looking at over here?
So this is Swansboro.
Okay.
This is that ridge out there is the Swansboro Airport, and in that little vineyard there, you can see Jodar is kind of smack dab in the middle, and then that vineyard there is owned by the Withers Winery, and that's about a 7-acre vineyard. Wow. So it's as the bird flies, it's not too far. As you drive, it's about a 20-minute drive. But the cool thing is that canyon, there's the South Fork of the American River Canyon. So that flows all the way from Lake Audrain, which is up right past Sierra Tahoe, flows down from there. And this is really what gives us a kind of a weather influence. You can see there's always kind of a breeze. This is always breezy up here. And it's not too breezy, but it's enough to keep the airflow moving, where we have good temperature variation. So we'll get afternoon breezes in the valley where it warms up, and we'll get an afternoon breeze that pushes up some warm air. And then during the ripening, during the summer and the ripening months, in August, September, October, we'll get the cooling effect where the mountains chill, and that cold air will flow down these canyons, this American River Canyon, and it will suck out all the warm air and really draw in a lot of cool air. So we have fog in Sonoma, Napa. We have these up canyon, up mountain breezes, and down mountain breezes. I was a vineyard manager here for a while, and everyone always talks about farming and driving tractors, and it's like we have one little flat area, and that's up there where the cab is. Everything else is on a slope, and it's like driving tractors on the slope is not easy. So it's always been
Probably not safe.
Yeah, it's a very it's either been my dad, my little brother Emmett, or me driving tractors here. Now it's pretty much my dad and my little brother in the office most of the time. But it's a way to see all the vines, and we still do. The family does all the farming. It's really important to us. We have 6 full-time guys that have been with us for almost some of them for 25 years. And a lot of them have been with us for a long term. So it's a very skilled profession. A lot of people don't understand that you have personal relationships with each of these vineyard blocks, each of these vines, and you really have to know them. You have to know how to treat them, how to really allow them to develop a really quality product that's going to in turn make a very high quality product.
All right. So I think we'll open up a Dolcetto Rosé. So this is 100% Dolcetto, which is an Italian variety, and it's for the last 5 years we've really experimented with a lot of different varieties: Sangiovese, Grenache, Mourvedre, Dolcetto, Zinfandel, Syrah, and Dolcetto. And the one thing about Dolcetto that we really thought was nice is it has just a very unique flavor profile, but it's a very nice flavor profile that works with a rosé. It's very smooth, it's crushed watermelon, strawberry. So I'll get this opened up, and as I open this, I'll kind of talk about this vineyard. The Dolcetto vineyard from here is beyond this tree line. So beyond this knoll, we have a vineyard. It's about 7 acres, and that soil type is completely different than this soil type. So this is all a decomposed lava cap soil, which is a volcanic, and that is a decomposed granitic soil. So right basically at the bottom of this valley where you can see these grapevines, it kind of transitions to that decomposed granitic soil. We have Barbera planted there, and then that little block down there is Grenache, and that's kind of right where it transitions. So we have our Rhones, and we have Grenache there, we have Mourvedre down below, along with Dolcetto down there. And it's a great soil for really developing an intense, yet very nuanced flavors. Very powerful, rich. And we do 100% stainless steel fermentation and aging with this. And a little bit of, I think a little bit of Surly's, because it has a nice kind of creamy richness to it. So the 2018 rosé.
So you're talking about how the soil on this vineyard is different from just right over there on that ridge. That is kind of a typical theme here in El Dorado County.
Right.
Kind of the different microclimates and the terroir, how that can be so different in such a small location.
Right. Yeah, and that's really what I think is one of the really, really important aspects of the El Dorado AVA is there's so many diverse growing conditions here that allow you to grow a lot of different varieties well. And that's another hard thing, is you have so many varieties that you're doing so well, it's it's a little bit harder to market. It's a little bit harder to kind of hang your hat on a variety.
Right.
But I think that diversity and the really unique variables are kind of why we have so many unique and characteristic wines that people enjoy.
Right.
It's kind of like you see all these kind of regional breweries. You go down to Sacramento and you have a handful of regional breweries everywhere, and they're all making unique beers, doing co-fermentations and sours and different things like that. And you have this kind of this wide-ranging array of different beers you can try. It's we're not just making stouts and lagers up here. We're making wines of every variety and every stylistic kind of winemaking that you can do. You have acidic wines, more food-friendly wines, luscious, rich, full-bodied wines. So it's exciting when you really like to try a lot of different things and a lot of unique, high-quality wines.
Well, this wine is delicious. I love the color. Kind of reminds me of like a provincial style color. It's got a little tiny bit of sweetness, but it's dry on that finish.
Right.
I mean, this is a perfectly balanced wine.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's a nice thing that we've discovered with the Dolcetto is it has a very, very vibrant fruit characteristic to it. So sometimes with rosés you get very nuanced, very I don't want to say subdued, but you can get very nuanced and delicate flavors.
Right.
This is a rosé that has delicate flavors, but it has a very profound watermelon flavor to it.
And it's I wouldn't say it's a delicate wine by any means.
Right.
You could probably pair this with a lot of different types of not just your typical salads or fruits, but
it has acidity to hold up to certain fats,
right.
And maybe like a poached salmon or a delicate even white meat chickens with sauces and stuff like that.
Delicious. Dolcetto. So Dolcetto Rosé. That's a unique wine. So he's talking about the El Dorado and how it's so different and how it is hard to just say, we make this very well or we make this very well. And I don't think that's so much of a struggle as it is kind of a badge of honor,
right.
At least in my opinion. And this is a great example here at Lava Cap, how the soils are so different and you've got so many varietals and they're all doing very well.
Right.
It's not like it's, the Sauvignon Blanc isn't world class, because that Sauvignon Blanc that we tried earlier is outstanding.
Right, and that's it's kind of mind-boggling when you think about it that from this vineyard where this is grown, this is this is probably about a quarter mile down. The South Fork of the American River is exactly a mile as the bird flies down this canyon. This is about a quarter mile down the canyon, and that's about 2,200 feet in elevation. And then the top of the hill over here is over 2,700 feet in elevation.
Wow.
So within a quarter mile on the same property, you're doing 500 foot elevation difference. It's kind of crazy how much the ripening is different up here than it is down here. We have Chardonnay at the top of the hill up here. It's a south-facing slope, but you think that south-facing slope, that Chardonnay would ripen quicker than some of this north-facing Chardonnay, and it's kind of the opposite. That'll ripen 2 weeks later, and it's just it gets different breeze. It has that elevation, that temperature range. It shortens the growing season probably a little bit, or pushes it out. Bud breaks a little later, so it's you get all these different variations that really allow you to build complexity and interesting characteristics in the wine.
And that's another aspect of growing in this region is because of the elevation changes, you not only have the soil differences, but you've got these little microclimates where that facing vineyard might have a different ripening schedule than this vineyard or even this one.
Exactly.
Which is, that must be difficult for a farmer, for managing all these different microclimates and soils.
Oh yeah, it's a pain in the butt. I mean, I think a
See,
farmer.
he's being honest.
I think
it's
a farmer.
a pain in the butt, but it's worth it though.
And what a farmer really would want to do. I mean, end of the growing season, you have a block of grapes.
Sure.
Nothing I think is more, I don't want to say aggravating, but nothing seems harder than going through and picking multiple times on the same block. So we have blocks where the soil is shallower, like in the Sauvignon Blanc, we'll do 3 different harvests. It makes for winemaking, that means we have 3 different lots. That means we're processing Sauvignon Blanc on 3 different days, and that means that you have 3 different fermentations. But the really neat thing about that is you have 3 different tasting Sauvignon Blancs, and
Right.
you have those 3 different wines that are bringing 3 different kind of, I'd say, core components and lighter nuanced components to a main wine. When you backblend them, you get this very layered and complex wine. And same with like our Chardonnay. We have Chardonnay here, we have Chardonnay there, we have Chardonnay down there. All different growing conditions and different clones and different flavors and different acidity levels. And when you bring those all together, you really get that richness, that complexity, and a well-developed wine.
Excellent. This is delicious. So what else do we have over here?
So we also have a mourvedre, and we used to, in the early 2000s, we made mourvedre, and we did it a state-grown mourvedre, and that is also planted near the Dolcetto.
Okay.
And if we were to walk down there now, you'd look like one block of it, one single block. Like you wouldn't be able to distinguish. When it's growing, I can barely distinguish where they're separated. So there's no distinguishing facts. But as these grapes ripen, there's a bear down there, and this bear knows when these grapes will ripen differently. So he'll feed all the mourvedre up to the Dolcetto, and then he stops. And there's a flavor in the mourvedre that he just loves. And so this mourvedre is a non-vintage mourvedre because for the past 4 vintages, we've been trying to get enough crop. It's about 1.5 acres, about 1,200 vines. We've been trying to get enough crop to do a vintage mourvedre again. And so finally we just said, okay, these bears are just tearing this vineyard apart. They're eating all the mourvedre. So we had 3 vintages, and we had just enough from the past 3 vintages to make 240 cases for our wine club. And so we made a non-vintage wine with these past 3 vintages, and it actually turns, it's a very well balanced, it's a really rich, it's got amazing flavors, and it's a fun wine. But we call it the bear wine. I mean, it's not the bear wine, but it's the mourvedre wine. We refer to it as the bear wine because it was created literally by the bears. So
the bear obviously has good taste, and he knows what varietal he likes or she likes. It's probably a family.
There's 5 of them.
Yeah. Okay. So they're very well-mannered bears.
So this is the non-vintage mourvedre.
Okay. Very cool.
Dorado.
Again, this is bear approved mourvedre.
Bear approved. Yeah. So it's pretty kind of astounding how much they can eat in about a week. So we'll have a full crop.
Nose is just intense.
Yeah, and it's really nice.
Wow.
It's intense flavored. We'll have a full crop. There's probably 8 tons of grapes, 6 to 8 tons of grapes out there, and these bears will come through, and within a week to 10 days, they'll clear the entire crop. So as soon as we see them hit the vineyard, it's kind of a mad rush to pick the grapes, but you don't want to pick them too early, otherwise the flavors aren't there, and so it's a balance.
I love that. They're competing with the bears
Yeah.
to harvest, and that sounds like a unique issue that the winemakers, the vineyard owners, the people who live and farm this land in El Dorado not only deal with deer who love the fruit and the birds who love the fruit, but you've got bears, which that's pretty epic.
Yeah, from here you have forests. So you have forests that kind of back up from the American River Canyon, and then you have Swansboro, you have forests out there, and then once you get past Swansboro, it's all national forest land. And from here to basically from the top part of Mosquito, Swansboro to Georgetown, just on the next ridge over, but from there up is complete open land until you get to Tahoe. There's nothing. There's no cities. There's no towns. There's old little mining camps and deer camps and stuff like that. But there's really there's nothing out there, and so you have a lot of wild animals. You have a lot of bears. You have a lot of mountain lions. You have a lot of deer, turkey. You name it. It's out there. So.
Here we are in the barrel. Do you need any help with that?
Yeah. So we got a 2016 Merlot, one of the new releases we have here at Lava Cap.
Can't wait to try that. So this barrel room, you have a big event in here coming up.
Yeah, so we have the 2019 Passport coming up. It's a great chance for the customer to come into the kind of the inner workings of wineries, I think in the area, especially here. We open up the barrel rooms, we decorate it up, we do food pairings. have a lot of new wine releases that release to the public, and sometimes we have wine club only wines we release to the public. This is a 2016 Merlot, though, a new release that's really showing great. Definitely have an opportunity to taste this paired with foods at the Passport weekend.
Cool. And that's coming up April 6th and 7th, and April 13th and 14th. So just a couple of weeks.
So 2016 Merlot, estate grown at Lava Cap.
So part of the Passport experience in El Dorado is a VIP offering. Are you guys going to be doing anything for VIP?
We will. We'll be doing some of the wines that we typically don't release to the public that we reserve for special wine clubs. We'll be pouring some of that paired with foods, maybe some library wines that typically very rarely have an opportunity to taste. And not to say that they're extremely rare wines, but it's a great I think opportunity to explore a lot of different wines, and especially how they age, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's you really get to taste the diversity of the area, and you really get a chance to meet the makers and see what's behind the scenes.
Right. This is a delicious Merlot. Tell me about it. Merlot kind of got a bad rap a while back, and it's starting to come back. So
I think Merlot is a great example of some of the diverse grapes we can grow in the area. We started with Sauvignon Blanc, went to Rosé of Dolcetto, went to Mourvedre, and now we're to Merlot. And Merlot gets a bad rap because for a farmer, it's Merlot, it buds out early, it ripens early. So, I mean, if you're a farmer and you want to just grow a generic crop of wine grapes, it's a great variety. And so you had a lot of farms I think in California that were growing for tonnage. And so the Merlot got a bad rap for a while. Then you of course had the sideways effect, which kind of, threw the Merlot market into it's amazing, kind of a tizzy fit. And then, but what has happened is a lot of the I think standout Merlot vineyards have really continued to thrive. Our Merlot, we've kind of continued to make the same amount of Merlot. We make about 700 cases of it, but it's always a really profound Merlot. It's got a nice depth, really rich cherry flavor.
Do you want to talk about Passport a little bit more?
Yeah.
Have you guys done it from the beginning?
So we've done it since day one. We've never missed a year. We did 1 year where we did one weekend, but we've never missed a year. We've done it from the beginning, and we've
That's 28 years from what I understand.
28 years. I've been working it since I was probably 5 years old. And that's not a joke. I've been doing dump buckets when I was starting when I was 6, and dump buckets and sweeping, and then transitioned to helping do the food and really meeting customers, and then of course when I was 21, pouring the wine, and now I'm kind of whatever faucet I can get into of the event. So it's going to be a fun event. 24 wineries are participating all through El Dorado County, and of course you guys being here from day one. Right. I'm sure you've seen it grow over the years. Now they're adding a new element this year, the Gala, the Passport Winemakers Gala. Right. You guys participating in that as well? We are. We will be there, and I think that's a great event to really just get excited about the local the wines, but really meet the people who are making them, learn about their philosophies about winemaking, learn about what drew them here and why they create the wines they do. Right. Because you'll actually get to, Passport, a lot of times you will get to meet the winemakers and talk to the winemakers, especially if you're in the VIP experience, but the Gala seems like a place where it can be very intimate and talk about anything. Right. Ask them any question you want. Exactly. And then, of course, pair it with some amazing foods. They've got Milestone, which we were at last week, Farm Table, Heyday Cafe, Moto, Osteria Moto, which is a new restaurant in El Dorado Hills, and then the steakhouse, Sea Night Steakhouse. So they'll be able to taste those different culinary adventures along with your wines. Right. Talk to the winemaker. And I think that's really what it was exciting is it's a full circle experience. Sure. You get to taste local food, you get to taste local wines, and you get to meet a lot of the people that have a passion not just for producing what they're producing, but for this area. Sure. People love to live where they work, and this is a great example, I think, of a community that you can drink some fabulous wines and then eat some amazing food. Right. So. Yeah. No, I agree. So the people that live and work here, that are the winemakers and the vintners and the winery owners, they're so
open and so accommodating and really are knowledgeable, and they're there just for you to talk to and meet.
Right.
The cool thing too is it's a dress-up event. So you're gonna wear a tux? You're gonna wear a bow tie? What are you gonna wear?
Well, I have a corduroy three-piece suit that was my grandfather's that I might bust out for the event. It's orange.
Dude, if you wear that, because I'm gonna wear a kilt, so.
I'm gonna wear it. It's pink silk and orange corduroy. As long as no one makes fun of me, I'll wear it.
That's pretty epic. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Okay.
Very cool. Yeah, so make sure you get tickets to the Passport Winemakers Gala, and that's at the Mercedes-Benz of El Dorado Hills. That's gonna be on 2 dates, so you have your choice of April 5th and April 12th, and it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a great event, and I think people will definitely be very happy that they were able to attend it and experience something that isn't too often. You know?
And then this, your barrel room, like you said, you open this up for Passport, and you've got usually lined with tables and different tasting experiences.
Yeah, so we try to, I think what we do for Passport and what's really fun is you get to showcase, you get to share the excitement about maybe a specific variety or a specific wine or a specific vintage that, you know, it's like a story you want to tell. You know, everyone always has that crazy story they want to tell, and I want to tell everyone about this. And that's what, you know, for a producer, that's what it's like for a wine. You want everyone to really try it, but you get to try it in its element. You get to try it in the room it's made, and you get to try it with food that really accentuates the flavors, and then you get to hear the excitement and the uniqueness from the people that produce it. And that's really what's fun about it, is you get to hear the story from ground one here.
Right, very cool. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and we learned so much about your winery and about your history and about these outstanding wines that you're making.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and everybody out there that's watching. So,
cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, anytime.
Definitely.
We're always here, and
Definitely come out and spend some time at Lava Cap. I know you're probably the favorite of a lot of people that are out there because you have been around for a while. But if you haven't been out here or you haven't visited Lava Cap in a while, definitely make a trip out and see the staff and taste these wines. That Dolcetto too, I'm telling you, that Dolcetto is
it's a very tasty wine. And, yeah, just across the board, I think El Dorado's doing an amazing job. So thank you for coming out, Russ, and anytime.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Cheers. So cheers to you out there. This has been Watch This from Kilt Cork. I'm Russ Reyes. You guys have a great night. Thank you.